Hi, my name is Shannon Heibler, and I am the costume designer for Gutenberg! The musical! There are so many hats in this show. Our wonderful characters, Bud and Doug, decide that costumes are probably a little bit out of their price range, but hats they can afford, and so hats are what they do. And they have hats for every single character in their little town of Schlimmer. We took a long time to decide just what the hats should look like. Early on, I had a discussion with Jen Gray, the director, talking about color was the first thing I brought up because the Broadway production that just happened with Andrew Reynolds and Josh Gad had all the same color, which felt super mean. And I didn't want to do that to our actors. And then we started talking about fonts. We've all heard graphic designers complain about Comic Sans, and so Comic Sans it was. And then also came other fun things to figure out, like how big is too big, how small is too small, what's going to be readable in the playhouse. Turns out hats have a lot of sightline issues. There were a lot of things to consider. So I mapped out where all of the hats were, the orders that they appeared in, on which characters, and then made sure that we just didn't go red or yellow, so that even if folks in the way back couldn't necessarily make out what's on the hats, they see that there's a clear change. And then I started having fun with assigning colors. We've got Gutenberg, the hero, in blue. He and the monk have a weird push-pull with Helvetica. The monk is red. Helvetica therefore had to be purple. Our drunks numbers 1 and 2 are familiar Wisconsin colors. And then it was just kind of filling things in. Oh, things like if monk is red, young monk is gonna be pink. And then it came down to tricks. The script, we've been asked a lot about in the talkbacks what the script calls for tricks, and truthfully it doesn't call for any. It was kind of me a couple months before rehearsals started, sitting with a box of hats in my studio at home and taking them apart and putting them back together and seeing what all of their different parts are. If I start Frankensteining hats together, is it wearable? Is it readable? Is it funny only to me because I've been looking at hats for so long? Answering all of those very important life questions. I think that you at home, before I say how many hats there are in this show, you should guess. Shout it out at your phone. Close. Nice. There's 65 hats in this show, and that actually doesn't count all of the producer hats. I'm a Muppet at heart, and to tell me that all of my art has to be spoken through hats, specifically cheap trucker hats with Comic Sans. That's my bread and butter. That's where I live. I have evolved it over the course of this. I only know how to engage with this show via hats. I love running a joke into the ground, and this was the best joke to run into the ground because it's so silly.